Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Common Hood. It's a little management sim, little indie game that's on Game Pass at the moment. I checked it out for a little bit. I've probably played a couple of hours, and we'll go into sort of what it is and who it's sort of for. Common Hood is a cozy little management sim slash community building game with some interesting takes on building mechanics. The game puts you in the shoes of a young adult who has nowhere to live and stumbles upon some other people in a similar situation living in an abandoned factory. Common Hood wastes no time throwing you into the deep end. You arrive at a warehouse, introduce yourself, and you're immediately put to work trying to build some semblance of a community, learning the basics of building and selling things to the trader. For the most part, the game is kind of rudimentary. You collect building materials from around the warehouse, convert raw materials into more useful building materials at crafting stations, and then build items from blueprints, which the blueprints are sort of where the main difference is in the game. You don't simply place a blueprint down and then add some crap to it and things get built. You actually build each individual section. So for example, one of the first blueprints you get is a chair, and you have to drag each leg of the chair and all the supports before the blueprint is counted as finished. While initially I thought this was a clever idea to begin with, it sort of got old fast and became a bit more of a hindrance as I found myself having to build several items to sell to make any money. Once you've done a few jobs for the folks around the warehouse, you gain their trust and they join your community. This is where the management aspect sort of comes into play. At the base level of friendship, you can assign sort of the first 4 hours of the day to a task like farming, building, or researching. There's a couple of other options in that as well. But as your friendship grows, you unlock more of their day to assign more tasks to them. If you assign repetitive tasks, they can become sort of disinterested. Having community members do some of the more menial tasks for you frees up more of your time to explore the warehouse or do other tasks. So for example, you start with one member, I got him to do all the farming while I did some of the research so we could then craft more items. Overall, it's a pretty fun experience. I'm not sure how long I would keep playing for though. Like a lot of crafting games, it sort of comes into a problem that I personally have with crafting games, which is the more high tier items require a lot more time and a lot more resources, and that's sort of where I peter off on these sorts of games. And again, that's not a knock on Common Hood, that's just a problem I personally have with those types of games. While I'd say Common Hood is overall an enjoyable experience, it's not without its flaws. I did start the game on Xbox, but because I sit so far away from the TV and my vision is generally poor, I couldn't really read anything, which is a big problem because all the tutorials are text-based. So I quickly switched to my PC so I could actually see what I was doing and what was going on. The game is also not particularly well optimized for PC. I've had way too many occasions where button prompts would be for an Xbox controller. There's no in-game keybinds that I could find, so when it says press the blue X button, it's kind of hard to interpret that on a keyboard. I did find out for anybody watching that it's spacebar. There are some menus where if you mash a few keys, it will change to the keyboard prompts, but there are also some interfaces where it just stays on the controller mapping, and it becomes a bit frustrating. I've also had a few times where I would try and take something out of my inventory, it wouldn't go into a slot, and then I couldn't select the item again unless I select a different space and then back to the item. It's just a few small sort of quality of life things, but they do sort of mount up and hinder your experience a little bit. I also couldn't find a way to split stacks of items, so you were either adding one at a time or the whole chunk, which also got a bit frustrating. At the time of writing, Common Hood is on both the PC and Xbox Game Pass. I'd check it out if you're a fan of crafting games or want something that's kind of chill. There's sort of not really a lot of pressure. Or I'd say anybody that wants a game that sort of tries to put you in a community and give you that sense of community building. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll be back with another video.